All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Radiant Media Podcast. I'm here today with Dr. Joseph Perez. He is an incredible actor. He's a U.S. Army major and an entertainment law student. And he's just an awesome dude, great to work with. So how you doing today, Joseph?
Amazing. Thank you for having me. And thank you for selecting me as an actor for your film. Jesse does incredible work. So anybody that's listening, he is an incredible director and knows how to pull out the best in people.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. So yeah, I think today I just wanted to talk about what you're up to as an actor. You're doing all these different sorts of things, and I think probably the best place to start is what was your experience like on Viewpoint? What were maybe some of the challenges that you had while becoming this character, and how did you overcome those challenges to deliver a great performance?
Oh yeah, and thank you again for having me. So, starting just on Viewpoint, that one was really challenging because I had so many overlapping projects, and so the preparation was really difficult because when we did our reading, our table read, I was actually in law school doing exams. So I went straight from the classroom with my professors, just picked a random room, and so I was focusing a lot on trying to pass my courses and then also build this character. So that was easily the biggest challenge. But just working with coaches and understanding script analysis, looking at the story that you're trying to tell and where does my character fall into that and how do I keep the story moving along, that was kind of the starting point. And then once we did the table read, that really helped bring out the situation. So understanding, okay, who is the main character? What are they going through? Who are they looking for? Their missing life, and then where do I come into play? And how do I keep that story moving along? So doing that, and then I try to pick on for this film, for this project, I try to use method acting. So I thought the best way for me to put myself in the situation to portray this character was to think, what if I was really there? What if I was really trying to help someone? And I was a little bit suspicious of that because I think it's happened to everyone where somebody asks for help. And once I did that, after our TV read, I can instantly like, okay, I know who this person is and I know how to go through it. And it was a really, really fun project. So I think combination of that and then just being coachable and listening to you on set, like, hey, give a little more, pull a little back. That always helps.
Awesome. What are some of the things that you find helpful as an actor, as kind of directions from the director that help you get to that next level?
I think just listen to exactly what they say, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it doesn't like don't overthink it. One of the things that you told me was we came in, we are doing this thing where we're looking at the boat, and I kind of went like halfway, and you said, "Hey, go all out this time." And I said, all right, sounds good. Like, don't overthink this. All I'm going to do is go all out. That's it. And then we did it. We did the scene. You're like, that's the one. That's it. And I haven't seen the final product, but I
Yeah.
trust when I'm on set that you know where you want to take the story and you know what's going to work best for it. So always trusting the director and trusting everyone on the team because we also had some marks that I had to hit, working with the DP, and understanding where's my best placement for like cinematic purposes and just working
Yeah.
with that. Always getting that feedback and always taking those into considering where everyone is positioned to tell a story.
Yeah, that's got to be difficult, because it's kind of different from maybe a play where you have the whole stage to work with. On film, it's like you got to hit this exact mark so that the DP can line up the shot in just such a way, and you're still trying to deliver a performance too. So maybe you could talk a little bit more about that and like maybe finding the balance between those and how you kind of embrace that difficulty.
Oh yeah, that is easily one of my biggest challenges going through is being authentic in the moment, but then also what I always try to do is be aware of what type of lens that we're using, what is the shot that we're doing, whether it's the wide shot, a medium shot, close up, if I'm on camera, if I'm off camera, and then making sure no matter what, I'm ensuring that the DP has what he or she needs to get their shot. And then I'm also working with sound to make sure that I hit my marks because they're expecting me to land on this mark and deliver my line. And they've already rehearsed. This is where I'm going to get the feedback and where I'm going to get your line. So understanding that piece, and I always try to cheat the camera a little bit the best way that I can so that you can get the best shot possible. And then also for the other actors and actresses, try to make sure that they're in the frame too. So if it's just a close up on me or a close up on them, one of the things that I always try to do is just be a good scene partner. So if keeping all those things in mind, if I'm on camera, I try to still put myself in that position and give the lines to people, so they have something to react to, and I feel like that just brings out everyone's performance. So it's challenging, but every day I work on it, hitting the mark, working with sound, delivering your line, and then delivering it at the same level and with the same emotion every single time. So there's continuity for each shot.
That's fascinating. I like that one comment you made about you noticing like even what type of lenses we're using. And so I think in filmmaking, it's always useful to understand each part of the process of filmmaking. Like me, I see myself as primarily a writer and director, but like I like to, be in other people's productions sometimes to learn, the basics behind acting. So, what's the importance of, understanding maybe the more technical aspects as an actor?
First, I want to say you did really well in Spirit because you directed, wrote, and acted in it as well as the picture. So that was awesome that you were able to do all of those.
Oh, thank
For the technical piece, I'd say that's like just a basic foundation that I think a lot of people I think would really benefit from, depending on just your learning style. For me, it helps because understanding what each shot you're working on and working with helps to develop what exactly you should be doing for that scene. For example, we had a shoot where someone was catching something, and so the person was just trying to catch it every time, and the director was explaining, "Hey, this is just a close up of your hands. So you don't really need, all we need you to do is get your hand in the shot and catch. You don't need to dive, you don't do this." And they were kind of just saying like, "Oh no, I'm gonna catch you, I'm gonna do this." It's like you don't have to do any of that, it's just a close up. And then for the wide shot, we just kind of need you jumping and understanding what the director is trying to capture for each one. Once you have that, it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit and just helps you understand what is the common goal that we're trying to get here. And usually it's from most productions is start with your wide shot, move into your medium, turn it around, move to those shots, and do close-ups and inserts if you have time. Each of those helps me just to understand, okay, this is what I need to do for a wide shot. Like for a couple of the movies I just did, I had to try on cue. And so I knew that I had to save my energy for the close-ups because I could, kind of do the motions for the wide shots, but I had to be ready once we got to the close shots where the camera's right here and I had to turn, not spike the lens, and then show the emotion and then be back in the scene. So each of those technical pieces, understanding that just helps me process exactly what I need to do, how I need to act for each one. And for example, like for a wide shot, I was playing the zombie lens. And I talked to the director and I asked him what lens, what are we using? And for that, it was a wide shot down a hallway. So I knew I had more room to use all of my limbs, use everything, and do really big movements. Whereas when we went to the close shots, I could open my mouth, move a little bit here, but I was limited kind of to this space and showing those emotions. So each of those technical pieces helps me a ton. So I feel like the more you know, especially with camera, with sound, with hair and makeup, each piece just helps so much.
Awesome. This was my first production with a SAG actor, and you were a big part of helping me with all the the legality of it, and with you studying entertainment law. I think that was a whole other facet that you brought to this production that I thought was really really helpful, and I just want to commend you for that. So what for you brought about that desire to pursue entertainment law, and how is it going right now? How are you loving it, and how is it benefiting the productions that you're on?
So at first, I love it. I think I was just thinking today, just being Christian faith. We were at that conference together at the Christian conference. And I talked to someone, and I knew that God called me to be in law, and I knew that He called me to be an actor at an early age. But I wasn't. When you say those out loud, they don't really seem like they can work. And someone told me because I was actually wanting to quit law school at that point. It was my first year. I was so overwhelmed, and the person told me, "You're now starting to see where your law career and your acting career start to collide, start to overlap." And so they told me when I was there, like, what we really need is lawyers in the entertainment industry. And if you have this acting experience, you understand a lot more and you're so much further than someone that just went to law school and has never been on a production. They don't know about craft services. They don't know about electrical. They don't know about hair and makeup. They don't know about trailers. What is the production budget? If it's going to be a SAG, if it's a non-union, and then if they're going to shoot in different locations, what are the typical costs you have? What are overhead costs for post production? So all of those things, when you have an understanding of it and you work in them, it helps you so much more understand the business, understand the law of okay, this is the SAG actor that went the whole production went to overtime, so now you have to pay everybody on cash and crew that's part of the union this rate. And if it's non-union, you have a lot more flexibility to work with people, and just goes by the contract that you sign. And so for me, I love it. I would just think of it as like I'm so grateful that God has put me in this position where now I'm pursuing acting full time and I'm in law school. And it's like, this is the dream for me. This is what I've always wanted to do. And so when I had the opportunity to work with you, I was like, please let me assist in any way because it's like wanting to play basketball professionally, and then Michael Jordan steps up and says, "Hey, do you want to shoot around?" It's like, yes, yes. Like I don't care if I just run a marathon. I want to keep, you know what I mean. So it's any opportunity that I have. I just try to say my approach is like the servant leadership, the same the way that Christ approaches like work and I serve, how to help. And every time I get to learn, this is the only job where like the last movie we just did, they said, "Hey, you're wrapped. You can go home." And I asked, "Can I stay?" Because I just wanted to be here. There's no other job I've worked where they said go home, and I was like, I want to stay. And this is the only one. So it's been a huge blessing, and then just every day learning something new, finding out how I can help with production.
Awesome. I'm wondering if you can talk too about how your experience in the military has impacted your acting career too, because having such a pivotal role in the U.S. Army, it's got a just from my experience of it's totally not the same thing, but being on a team sport, I think it definitely like impacts how I approach filmmaking. And so I'm wondering from you, like, how does being in the U.S. Army change your approach to filmmaking or kind of impact it?
So it's really similar. I'm glad you brought up team sports because it's very similar. They're all common goal. So the same thing in the military. It's like, what's your mission? And it's never one person that is trying to accomplish the mission. It's always our unit, our organization, our battalion, our squadron. So it's always a team effort. And so when I got into filmmaking, I realized it was really strange at first because I knew God called me to the military, and I still going back to remember God calling me into acting and law. I was like, what's going on? Because I don't see how this is going to work out. And it was a blessing because the military actually earned me a lot of my first roles. So I was actually in the Black Panther movie as a featured extra, and it was because I went to U.S. Army Ranger School and Airborne School and Air Assault School. I knew how to hold a weapon. I knew how to do tactically. I knew how to throw on my vest, declare a weapon, and handle an assault rifle, a pistol, machine gun, and all of that actually was really what propelled the first roles that I was ever selected for on set. And I didn't realize that until just a few weeks ago, where I thought it was a challenge for me. And one of my stunt coaches said, "You have all this experience, lean into that. People will value that. That's something that you have that they don't have to teach someone on set." And I was actually, it's funny because you have the Batman movie in the back. It's Gotham Knights, I think, that was on that show.
Oh,
And the
really?
reason, yeah, so I was supposed to be like one of the bandits or the goons, and the director he came up and said, like, introduced himself. He said, "The reason I picked you is because of your military background. I read every single person's individual application, and you had M240 Bravo, M249 light machine gun, M4 assault rifle, pistol, time in Afghanistan." So he's like, "I knew you knew how to do an ambush. I knew you had to do a breach. You could break it, you could handle a weapon, and you could do it all. And you have film training, so you understand the camera placement, how to work on a camera team. So all of that has led me. And at the time, I was like, God, what is going on?" And it's like he had the plan the whole time, and it all laid out. It's worked out. So it's been a huge blessing, the military experience.
Totally. Yeah. And, I think that shows how important it is to, like, even if you're acting, it's so important to have that real world experience behind the role that you're acting for. Like even when we were on set of Oppenheimer, like they had actual scientists there, even though like, they didn't need to be in the lab, like conducting science. It was still a contributor, a big contributor to the realism. Just like the knowledge that there was actual people there, and I think it helps to create that environment, which is it's such a special thing when you're creating a film, is having that accuracy. So yeah, I find that really really fascinating. So yeah, I think you know working with you, it has been such a great partnership. Having worked on two films together, I'm sure we'll work on many more. What do you think is the importance of having a good partnership with the creators that you're working with, and how important it is to, you know, ensure that you have this sense of collaboration with them, and because I really feel that with you, that like, I can say something and you'll know how to interpret it in such a way that'll make it a great film. So I was wondering your perspective on that.
Oh yeah, I think everything is relationships. So understanding like even when I'm on set, like it is a collaborative effort, but the director is going to make the final call and the producer is going to make the final call. So understanding my job, I'm there to portray someone. I'm there to be this character and stay true to that person, but also bring in ideas if I prepared for it and think like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I think having that open line of communication, no matter your role, is always important. Because, for example, on Seinfeld, they said one of the Bryan Cranston in his book wrote one of the way that they had this really funny moment, and he was playing a dentist, was that the person that was fixing the lights said, it would be really funny. It'd be funny if you took a hit of anesthesia before you'd be able to Jerry Seinfeld. And that's how that part got entered into the show. And
Hmm.
what made that show so successful was the collaboration. Anybody who has a good idea, whatever is best for the production, let's do that. And so when I were on set and you give me a note, like, okay, I want to do that. If I hear someone else and say like, hey, what do you think about this? Because Dom, he actually gave me a few notes and said like, hey, you should try this. And I was like I never even thought about it, and I did, and it worked out. So I think that's really important. And then also for acting, like always stay trained. So knowing that like as a director, you're writing, you're working on your craft, and then having people that are constantly working on their craft. So you know that anytime that you call, they'll be ready, as long as there's not like a conflict or anything. But having relationships with directors, with producers, with the actors and actresses, where you can all call on each other, trust each other, and give feedback. And that's one thing I really want to improve on with actors and actresses. Is it seems like you're always kind of you're in competition for a lot of the same roles, and so there's you kind of don't people don't want to like give, hey, here's an audition, here's that. For me, it's like I'd really like to open that up so actors and actresses always support each other. I kind of learned that working in stunts, where if you, whenever they have an open role, they're like, hey, you'd be good for this. I'm going to send this to stunt coordinator. And they always support each other. So I really want to do that for actors and actresses as well. But always collaborate. Wherever works best for the project, go with that.
That's so great. Yeah. And, I think you touched on something cool there, where it can feel sometimes like it's a competition, like you're going after roles and it's like, I really want that role. But I feel like, especially with the filmmaking industry, it's so important to have everybody there. And I think it seems counterintuitive sometimes, but it's like it is, I think, always a better idea to, try to be as unselfish as you can be. It's like, even if, for me as a writer director, like, maybe I really want to like direct that project, but it's like if you feel like somebody else has more talent in that specific area, it's like they're the better project manager for that. But then it's like it's the same can work the other way too. Like if that other actor or that other director feels that like that project isn't the exact right fit for them, they can, provide that for you. So, I think it's just like the more and more that creatives can, kind of create this communal environment where we're all kind of giving to each other, the better that projects turn out to be. So yeah, that's really awesome. I'm curious if I could know a little bit more about your experience on Black Panther. With a big Marvel Studios movie coming out this past week with Deadpool. I'm curious what that was like, and it's such a big part of society right now, all those Marvel movies. So I'm curious about that.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. The way you just mentioned that. I never thought about it from the director side of how you could be in competition too and do that. So it's interesting you said that. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So it's funny because Black Panther, when I got cast for that, I was actually injured. So I had just injured myself lifting, and they told me you have to wear this bulletproof vest, you have to carry this assault rifle, and so I almost had to cancel it. And so I actually went to a chiropractor who fixed me, did everything like I needed, and then I could walk again, I could bear weight, and so that was the only reason I even got to make it, and fly out to Atlanta. And then once I did, it is just like walking into another world. So they have I walk in. I think it's like it was in a stadium with this really big facility, and they have all the stunt people that were like the blue. I think it was the Mayans. All of them are getting painted their entire body. So I got to talk to the stunt people, and I was just nervous. It was my first project, so there was like hundreds of people, maybe even over 1,000 that submitted, and they picked four of us. And so I was talking to one of the guys on set, and they were like, I was like, man, I can't believe I'm here, because that was one of my first projects. And it was like, you actually meet director Ryan Coogler, and he's giving you feedback. And for me, I think I got paid $150, but I flew in from Denver, had to get a rental car, had to get a hotel, and then had to fly back. So if you do the math, it cost more than 150 what I got paid. Someone on set they asked that, and I told them how much it cost and everything. Like, oh, so you took a loss, and I was like, no, this is a win.
Oh,
In no
totally.
way, in no way am I losing. Like, I just got to work, and I got to meet the two main actors and actresses, that we were working with for that scene. And so it's like I just had so much exposure to see how this world, this globally known, an Academy director interacts with the actors and actresses. I get to see these amazing actors and actresses, how they work on set. I get to see what a Hollywood set is like, and then I got camera time. So actually, when we actually did the shots, they actually did shots that just on me, where the camera is right here, and the helicopter that goes down in the movie, we actually we had to go in the back of it, open the hatch, load the bags that we were carrying. We did a bunch of scenes like that. All of them got cut, but for me, it was like you have Ryan Coogler telling the DP to be right here on me and to do like the front shot, do a side shot, and then us running and loading these bags. And I'm like opening this helicopter, doing all this. And it's like that experience alone just propelled me, got me so excited and got me
Totally.
so motivated. So being on that, and then when it was done, I was like, did that just happen? And then I made the final cut. And so a lot of times I realized it's such a blessing that just to be selected for a film, but then you don't always make the final cut because it's
Right.
just you only have so much time for the movie. You have to do what makes sense. And for that, it's like my friends are flying and texting me like, "Hey, you made it." And the same thing with Oppenheimer, where you wrote me like, "Hey, the director just posted a picture you wanted in his
Yeah.
image."
Yeah.
Everything is like God just orchestrated it and just like kept me so excited, made me want to keep going, kept me motivated. And now it's like stepping into those new roles where it's like if I ever get selected for Marvel again, it's like it's weird to think I have experience in that area. But
Right.
that was literally one of my first projects and such a huge blessing. I was so excited.
That sounds like such a blast, man. And I think it's like so many people, they're like, thinking about the dream of being the next like DiCaprio, or for me it's like the next Christopher Nolan, right? But I think if you don't notice how special those moments are, you're not going to appreciate it once you get to that like theoretical dream. It's like you're living the dream right now, having all these experiences. Like even if the pay versus like the cost to get there like didn't exactly match up, that doesn't matter. It's like you are living the dream right now. You're having so much fun on the pursuit of greatness. So could you speak on that a little bit? Like, I think you're a guy who is not only an actor, who's somebody who's multifaceted, and I think you really have an appreciation for doing things in a great way. Like what motivates you to do those things, and how do you find satisfaction in the pursuit of doing those things?
That is a really good question. I was just thinking about it today. For me, it's like I just let God lead with everything. I remember that my one thing is I'm serving Him. So
Yeah.
if He called me, it says tomorrow, I don't want you to act anymore. I'm like, hey, it was incredible. I enjoyed every minute. I enjoyed all the rejection. It made me appreciate the acceptances and the auditions and the selections more. But it takes all the pressure off. And for me, it's like that's my priorities. I'm going to serve God no matter what. And so, in everything that I do, give glory to Him and serve Him. So, if I never book again, I was just talking to somebody, if I never book a role again, God is still good. And if I book every role, God is equally good. And so for that, that's really what motivates me. I look at what does God want me to do. I know He wants me in law school. I know He wants me to film. Everything leading up to that was really hard. So being in the military, working overseas, 24-hour operations, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, that was really, really difficult. But in a way, it was a blessing because now I appreciate my time way more now that I have more flexibility, more time, and now stepping into this kind of phase of my life where it's like I actually just turned down a role, and it was just because it's like, hey, we thought it was a speaking role. It wasn't on the cast list, and so they said, hey, we want to select you for this role, and the pay, all that. And I never thought I would be in a place where I could turn down turn down an offer. And just looking at that now, the business side of things, um, you're in a new spot working with a manager and says like, hey, these are our goals for you. This is where we want to take you. For that, it's like it's incredible. It's such a huge blessing. But no matter what, remembering God is first. So that's really what motivates me, inspires me, and that's what I remind myself every day. I'm doing this with that mission. And if you're serving Him, you can't fail. So no matter what, like if I miss an audition, that's like it's not the end of the world. That's not my identity. It's just an acting or pursuing law. It's really just in my faith.
That's incredible, man. And yeah, it's like it takes off all of this like pressure of I need to do all of this great stuff. It's like you're doing it in an act of service to God instead of to yourself. So that's incredible, man. Well, we're getting to the end of my camera battery here, so I think this is probably where we should end it. But dude, thank you so much. You're an incredible actor and an incredible guest, and I think a lot of people can learn a lot of wisdom from you. So thank you. Awesome, man. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Radiant Media Podcast, and we'll have another episode for you soon.